Hi, guys. I just wanted to share this essay with you, so I'm just going to go ahead and read it. It's not always a cliche. When do meaningful sentiments become platitudes? Can a cliche come back from the depths of a punchline to bask in their true selves? I'm holding one such truism close to my chest, honoring it by acknowledging and enjoying its existence. Overuse does not always a cliche make. I didn't set out to write a book. It was a secret goodbye to the people I loved, an explanation of why I decided to end my life. I turned to writing for the simple reason that I once had a dream to become a writer. I found solace in writing, and the secret goodbye became something else. The writing was therapy, with minimized exposure to vulnerability. Only the pages knew my words, only the words knew my feelings. As I played my keyboard, weeks and months passed by, and new branches of healing crept in. I kept drafting, redrafting, and healing until I found myself in a place where I could share my words, my confession, my soul. My work was met with shock and love of the best kind. I was assured and reassured that I was going to be okay. I was encouraged to share my story so that it may help others. I loved writing, so why not? But where to start? I consumed as many memoirs about trauma, addiction, and healing as I could find. Wild by Cheryl Strayed, Sarah Hepolis' Blackout, My Fair Junkie by Amy Dressner, every book by Joyce Maynard, and Theo Fleury's shocking story Playing with Fire, to name a few. I found a memoir masterclass course on Creative Live by Joyce Maynard and diligently absorbed every word. My wife gifted me an in-person memoir gifting writing class taught by Laurie Goff, who became my editor and friend and helped shape hundreds of pages filled with ramblings into a coherent book. Sharing in words the worst part of my life, both in what was done to me and who I become because of it, sank me deeper into despair. But resolute, I pushed forward. Typing through blurry vision on tear-soaked keys became as familiar to me as the cold, stale coffee sitting beside the screen. Simultaneously, I found a therapist, and after 9 years of avoiding what I'd been prescribed, I finally entered a men's group for childhood trauma, where 12 of us met weekly. In our apprehensive first encounter, we were assured that we wouldn't be sharing our story for weeks, which was met with a collective sigh of relief. As the weeks continued, we learned about the science of trauma, tools to help in challenging time, and about each other. I signed up to share on the first day. I told them all about my book, which was about to be released about my trauma. I shared a copy with them all. When we returned the following week, and it was time to share, an older member of the group, who perched in the same seat every session, spoke up. He shared the events and subsequent pain he had been enduring for decades. He read from his handwritten notes on a worn, folded piece of paper as we all sat respectfully, attentive, holding back our own tears. It was the first time he shared his story with anyone outside of his wife and therapist. When he finished, he lifted his head and said, "I could not have done this sharing thing if it wasn't for Rob's book." He turned to me, eyes red and swollen. "Thank you, Rob." A seismic thud localized within my body shook my being. He was talking to me. I had set out to help people with my book, but had no idea I would be in the same room with them, let alone with them thanking me. My therapist had told me that it was essential to integrate the good after having worked so hard to integrate the not so good. I smiled back at him as my own eyes dampened. I nodded my head in acknowledgement, gratitude, and humility. I look back on the despair I felt when writing with reverence, not anguish. I'm no longer embarrassed about how much Laurie had to edit and tolerate in my early writing, and with me. I look back at the fact that I had to rewrite or cut almost everything from previous drafts with indifference. I don't care about the dismissive literary agents, at least I assume they were dismissive since most of them didn't respond. I don't mind having to use up precious hours in therapy to help come to terms with my story being released to the world. As I sat among my fellow childhood trauma survivors who thanked me for my work, my inner voice whispered the phrase, "That was not a platitude that day. If it could help one person, it will have been worth it." It did, and it was.